In this video, I'm going to show you how to take memorable travel photographs. You know, something that you can be really proud of when you get back from that once in a lifetime vacation or that bucket list trip. Let's get after it. When I was a kid, and I know it wasn't yesterday, it was always the same routine. Me, my dad, my mum and my sister would go on holiday, and at some point in the holiday, my dad would whip out his Polaroid camera, line the three of us up in a row and tell us to say cheese. And if I look back at those photographs now, they're all the same. It's the same three people, and the only reason you know it's somewhere different is because it's a slightly different background, we're wearing different clothes, and it's either day or night. Now, my dad isn't a photographer, and that's the way we did things back then, and I'm fairly sure you can relate to some of that. But herein lies the problem. None of those photographs captured the essence of where we were. They didn't tell stories, and they were instantly forgettable. Now, don't get me wrong, obviously we're going to take photographs of our loved ones while we're on holiday, and that's all good. But if you want to capture a story of the place you've been so that when you look at it later, you have to dig a little bit deeper. And dare I say it, you need to stop shooting like a tourist and start shooting like a photographer. Now, I know I say that all the time, but it's for good reason. My travel photography transformed overnight, and it was basically because I started asking myself two questions. Number one, what is this place known for? And number two, why is it different from everywhere else? Is it the landscapes? Is it the architecture? Is it the weather? Or is it even just the way the people live their lives? I was looking to see what resonated with me and why I chose to go to this location. Because our job isn't just to capture it on camera, it's to distill it. It's to capture the essence, the feeling you had, you know, the sights, the smells, the sounds, and trying to convey that through your photography. And one thing to do is make sure that you go and capture your photographs at the right time. Now, obviously, that could be golden hour. Beaches and mountains always look great with side light. But it could also be at the end of the day when the fishing boats are coming back into the village, or it could be later on when the nightlife is about to kick off. What is it about the place you've went that really makes it stand out? So it's important to be aware when these things are happening and go at that time. And in my opinion, one strong photograph that captures the feeling that you experience is far better than 50 documented photographs of just the location. You need to tell that story. Now, before we go any further, I just thought it'd be fair to say it's the last week of the sale for my ebook, which is basically telling you how not to shoot like a tourist. If you'd like to pick up a copy with a 30% discount, then the link's in the description. But let's get back to it. Most travel photography fails right here because, again, shooting like a tourist, being at eye level, taking grand vistas with your camera really starts to document, but it doesn't truly give you the feeling of being there. So we start to compose by getting down low, using foreground, using background, all of the things that I talk about in the book, which I mentioned earlier. So start to think, because standing and taking a photograph of a beautiful view, well, that's normal. But we're not in the game for normal, we want exceptional. And exceptional comes from practicing your composition, going out at the right time of day, and making sure that the images that you bring home don't just resonate with you, but they resonate with the people you show them to. So composition is key. Nothing makes travel photographs more authentic than capturing the people that live there during their daily lives. Visiting markets, going into cafes, watching people working, or even just commuting to and from work. These places tell real stories of the place that you are. Daily lives change dramatically from country to country, and if you can capture some photographs of people going about their daily lives, then you're going to tell a much richer and a much deeper story. And that's sometimes better than capturing the famous landscape that everybody else has a million photographs of. And remember, that doesn't mean that you have to be intrusive, and it certainly doesn't mean that you have to be aggressive. Just wait, watch, and then take the photograph. And a good point here is your gear's really important. Now, if you want to get up close and personal, then you can shoot with a 50mm or a 35mm, but that does mean you have to get closer to your subject. However, the benefit of that is your camera gear is less obvious because of the smaller lens. If you want to shoot street photography, like I've spoken about in some of my shorts and videos, with a much longer lens, the 100 to 500, then it's very clear that you're a photographer. The benefit of that is you can stand 15 miles away and take a decent photograph. Okay, maybe not 15 miles away, but you get what I'm saying. I personally love the look of both, but the compression of the longer lens just brings things in, and to my eye, that looks a little bit more appealing rather than the wide open space of a wide angle lens, funnily enough. In this section, we're going to talk about getting closer. Now, whether that's with a zoom lens or just taking some shots really close up is very important, because you have to resist the urge of just always taking the big wide landscape. Again, get more detail into it. Take photographs of people holding hands, a photograph of a coffee cup, a newspaper. All of these different things start to add more texture to your images as a collection. And that's another key thing. Don't be thinking about taking photographs in isolation. If you go to the market and you're there for 4 hours, then make a set of images. Get some wide shots, some establishing shots that show you where you are, get some medium shots that maybe bring a little bit more personality into it, and then finish with some close-ups, because when you add them all together, especially if you put them in a photography book, then it starts to give a much more varied approach to it, rather than just 16 by 9, 16 by 9, and guess what? 16 by 9. Because you see, tighter shots get rid of distractions. They're far more personal, more intimate. And again, when you're starting to review them and reminiscing about your holiday, I guarantee you, it's those shots that will bring back more emotion than just a postcard. Now, I've alluded to this in the previous section, but it's a fantastic tip, and that's to imagine that you're going to make a photography book of your travels. Even better, make a photography book of your travels, because when you start to think like that, it starts to mix up your shots, like I've already said, but we start thinking in landscape, portrait orientation, black and white, close up, far away, all of these different things. Think about how your pages will look when you start to add the photographs to them. You might start with a landscape image right up the top, and then some close-up shots in portrait orientation. The next page might be some black and whites, but the more you start to mix it up, the more interesting it is when you start to flick through all of your photographs. Yeah, you'll probably get one banger that you keep going back to, but if you're showing somebody what it's like to visit that country, keep it varied, because that is when travel photography really starts to come together. So the next holiday you're going to book, ask yourself these questions before you leave. Where am I going? What are the people like? What is it known for? And what is its culture like? And then think about, are there any places that you really need to capture, any famous landmarks? Because once you've done that, you've got 90% of the perfect shot list, and you haven't even got on the plane yet. Because when it comes to exceptional travel photography, one thing is important, and that's intent. Know what it is you're going to do when you get there. Yes, you have to adapt on the day, but don't be hit and miss. Don't wake up in the morning and think, what am I going to shoot today? Have a plan, try and stick to it, because when you get home, I guarantee you, you're going to be blown away by the results. Now you ready? Say cheese!